The information regarding the COVID-19 coronavirus presented in the following video was current at the time of filming. However, due to the dynamic nature of the virus and scientific and medical developments, it may be outdated at the time of viewing. For the latest and most accurate information regarding the COVID-19 coronavirus, please refer to the official websites for the World Health Organization, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and your local health department. Hey everybody, welcome to today's video. As most of you know, we had started our Lenten series on the 5 principles and practices to observe during the season of Lent. Well, as probably a lot more of you know, on Thursday, Ohio Governor Mike DeWine announced that all K-12 public, charter, and private schools in Ohio would be shut down for 3 weeks to try to contain the spread of the COVID-19 coronavirus. As a precautionary measure, and in the interest of protecting the health and peace of mind of our congregation and community, the Highland Ridge Community Church Council decided on Thursday night to follow that guidance and also cancel our services for the time being. On Saturday night, the Lowell Area Ecumenical Cooperative, who is hosting our Lenten series of services, also decided to cancel the remainder of this year's Lenten services. Therefore, we'll be doing things a little bit differently for a while. I'm going to be recording my messages remotely and posting them on YouTube. And I'll also provide links on Facebook and updating our other social media so that we can all stay connected while we are social distancing. In the meantime, we encourage everybody to take standard everyday precautions to protect your families, and your friends and neighbors' health. I want to encourage you not to panic or worry needlessly about the situation with this outbreak. Hoarding food, toilet paper, and other items is not only unnecessary, it causes undue hardship for our neighbors who need them too. One of my friends posted on Facebook that he was offering to trade 3 rolls of 2-ply toilet paper and a half can of Lysol for a '68 Camaro. Now, he was joking, of course, but pointing out a serious issue that we often face in times of crisis. So let's remember the golden rule, as Jesus said in Matthew 7:12. In everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. For this sums up the law and the prophets. By the way, since we are social distancing and we're not having our church services inside the building, you may not have your own Bible. And if you don't have your own Bible and you want to follow along with my messages on here, there's a great website you can go to called BibleGateway.com. When you go to this website, it has listed hundreds and hundreds of different Bible translations, and you can go through and pick your favorite one, from the King James to the New International Version, which is what we use, to the New Revised Standard, or even in other languages like Chinese and Spanish and French, German. You know, they've got hundreds of translations of the Bible. So you can go to this website, BibleGateway.com, and you can follow along with me following along with the same translation I'm using, or even to pick your own translation that you would prefer to use. So I encourage you to do that while you're at home, especially if you don't have your own Bible, and you can do that online on your smartphone or on your computer. But anyway, another friend of mine said that she was nearly out of toilet paper, and everybody was hoarding it. Or because everybody was hoarding it. She was going to have to start using her hand. Well, there you have it. Another reason to avoid handshakes. But don't hoard all the toilet paper, everybody, or the hand sanitizer. Let your neighbors wipe their butts and wash their hands too, or you'll still be in trouble when they want to shake your hand. But anyway, as Ecclesiastes chapter 3 says, there's a time for everything and a season for every purpose under the heavens. And verse 5 specifies a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. So I guess the Bible even has something to say about social distancing. So there truly is, as it says, nothing new under the sun. But seriously though, what we're going through now, and this world has seen before, and worse, and will again. And while we may just be entering the proverbial dark tunnel, there is a light at the end. So as our British neighbors said during World War II, keep calm and carry on. And as the old adage goes, this too shall pass. I want you to remember that it doesn't do us any good to worry, panic, and overreact over things that are beyond our control. I mentioned this a couple weeks ago in my message on fasting. As Jesus said in Matthew 6:25-34, "Do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow nor reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they?" By the way, a side note to answer that rhetorical question, the obvious answer is yes. Some animal rights groups and environmental extremists may say otherwise, but as far as God's concerned, yes, you are more valuable than the birds of the air, or the grass, or the flowers of the field. Of course, we're supposed to be good stewards and caretakers for God's creation, but that's a message for another day. The point for today is this, continuing with verse 27. Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? And why do you worry about clothes? See how the flowers of the field grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will not he much more clothe you, you of little faith? So do not worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first his kingdom, and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. That's Matthew 6, verses 27-34. So in a nutshell, Jesus is telling us not to worry, because as he taught us to pray earlier in Matthew 6:11, for him to give us this day our daily bread. We'll talk more about that later too. But that's what faith is all about, trusting him to meet our needs according to his riches and glory, as he has promised. Now, to be clear, that does not absolve us of the need to do our own due diligence. As it says in James 2:26, faith without deeds or actions is dead. Yes, God provides, but at the same time, he expects us to be his hands and feet. Let's look at James chapter 2, beginning with verse 15. Suppose a brother or sister is without clothes and daily food. If one of you says to them, go in peace, keep warm and well fed, but does nothing about their physical needs, what good is it? Well, the answer is, not much. Thoughts and prayers are great, but they're useless if not accompanied by appropriate actions. So don't worry needlessly and overreact when something negative happens, whether it be the coronavirus, a terror attack, the next major flood or tornado, or even the next school shooting, because they are going to happen. In Matthew 24:6, Jesus warned that, quote, you will hear of wars and rumors of wars, and famines and earthquakes and etc. But do not be alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is not yet. We must all face these things in this fallen, sinful world. But as it says in verse 13, the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. So let's not worry and let's not panic, but let us be prepared. As I like to say, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. And in doing so, let's be sure to watch out for each other, because in the end, we're all in this together. Divided we fall, but united we stand. So I guess today's message really did relate to our original Lenten theme. We talked 2 weeks ago about fasting, and we just now touched on works of mercy, looking out for our neighbors. Corporate worship is one that's a little bit more difficult for us in this period of social distancing, but we'll make it. I know most of us prefer the personal connection when we can meet face to face, pass the peace, and give handshakes and hugs, depending on your individual preferences. But it's times like this when modern technology is really invaluable. And I'll talk more later about some of the things that we can do on our own while in quarantine, isolation, or social distancing, as the case may be. But for today, I just want to stress that we're in this together. And when we act in each other's best interests, there will be more unity, less stress, and more hope for all of us. Finally, in the interest of faith in action, I want to list some resources that are available to you in this time of uncertainty and trouble. Today I'm going to go ahead and list some of the local food pantries, and here's the list of some of the ones you can check out. There's a LAM, the Lowell Area Mission Basket, and this is the food pantry and thrift shop at 309 Walnut Street in Lowell, Ohio. There's the Gospel Mission Food Pantry at the Harmer Community Center at 309 Lancaster Street in Marietta. The Marietta Church of God Food Pantry at 501 Colgate Drive in Marietta. The Marietta Community Food Pantry at 365 State Route 821 in Marietta. The Marietta Salvation Army at 136 Front Street. The Newport Food Pantry on Green Street in Newport. The New Matamoros Food Pantry at the Harvest Time Church of God at 1015 Park Avenue, New Matamoros. The Beverly Waterford Food Pantry at St. Bernard's Catholic Church at 309 7th Street in Beverly. The Western Washington County Food Pantry at 18 High Street in Vincent. The Belpre Food Pantry at the Rockland United Methodist Church at 2300 Washington Boulevard in Belpre. And the Tri-County Food Pantry at 102 Main Street in Lower Salem. The contact information for each of these is on your screen. If you're in need, contact the one that's closest to you to see if you qualify for assistance. And as always, I can be reached at my office phone number, where you can email me at pastorkevinhrcc@minister.com. That's pastorkevinhrcc@minister.com. You can also private message me using whatever social media you're using to view this video. So thanks again for joining us today for our remote message. Next week, we'll have some more resources to share with you. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you'll know when we post the video. So in the meantime, be safe. And as I said earlier, please take standard everyday precautions to protect you, your family, your friends and neighbors' health. And check with the CDC, the WHO, and your local health department for the latest developments and recommendations. There's a lot of misinformation out there on the news, so don't rely on them to be accurate. If you're able to watch this video, then you should also be able to access these organizations' official websites. So once again, be safe, be kind, be prepared, but be positive too. We'll get through this together. See you next time.